Also, like, highlight something. It's not that these things are new. It's not that there's nothing new we are doing under the sun, actually. It's something we call communication silos. We have very great small groups, volunteer groups, CBOs, sometimes large NGOs doing very good work. And the issue is coverage. There are people in the coast. There's a lot of mangrove restoration. In the atolls, the semi-arid landscapes, there's a lot of restoration from invasive species of plants. There's a lot of impactful social work being done by collaborative, now non-environmental CBOs to try and just mitigate all this. The issue is not really that there's something new or something to remove yourself from. Mm-hmm. It's actually, we need to immerse ourselves even more, because the argument here is not whether work is being done. It's just the way you said, we need to see it. So the only way we can see it is actually put ourselves there and actually come to the ground. And that's why we were calling them grassroots organizations. They are doing the work. They're actually doing the work. They're executing. They're changing their communities one tree at a time, one wasteland, one landfill being cleared at a time. So the issue here is not really whether we need to put ourselves out. We need to immerse ourselves even more, cover it, and now make it known to the world that we do not need your theoretical solutions. We just need you to see how we are doing and actually what we need. There's this process, part of the process of how we go about with community projects. We do something called a local dialogue, where you would try to come up with a set of questions and go to that community saying, oh, these guys are in the asphalt, so their problem is water. So you'll find they've already had, there are 20 steps ahead of you. So if you thought that that's what you're going to avail to them, you're going to build them, a borehole. Some of them have found a way to get wells. Some of them have found ways to combat that. So you find if you have a preconceived notion as to what the problem is there without actually going there, that's where you go wrong, and that's where the resources look like they're not really doing anything. Communities are their own lifeblood and they're their own sustenance. So that you just need to cover what they're doing. And now if you can make it known to the world what this is happening here, that is actually what needs to be taken from them. Well, that's what the experts need to understand. And that's what the experts actually end up now having their own discussions, because it's all theoretical. But in real life, on the ground, it works. For them, for the local community, maybe it needs to be tweaked when it's taken elsewhere. But so the only thing we need to avoid is a cut and paste. But in terms of immersing ourselves, I would really not argue into taking ourselves from it. We need to put ourselves inside. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Wow. You were nodding.
Yeah.
Well, they say the teacher is happy when the student is experting them.
Right.
Yeah, I think the question is, how do we then move from the boardroom to the ground, right?
To the ground, yes.
So I'll ask you to give me some time to explain. I'll use some few examples and actually what we've done to implement and actualize some of these so-called theories on the ground.
Right.
And I start by saying, if you go on my social media, one of the things I put on my profiles is I push for meaningful engagement of African youth and African communities. And I've walked the talk since about 3 years ago. Until recently, I was an Africa director of a global organization called Youth for Nature. And it's literally a global youth group that empowers young people to be leaders of today and tomorrow, and we, give them the capacities to lead on solutions for the climate and biodiversity crisis. One of the projects I'm proud to really have implemented and fundraised for is called Inuka, of course, Swahili for Rising Up, and it's based on nature-based solutions. Actually, then how we understand that communities and young people at the local level better understand the environment around them, right? But also they understand the challenges that these environments are facing, or what them as a community are actually doing to impact it negatively. But they also know what it is that they can actually do to reverse it to a better state. So through Inuka, we've been able to fundraise to almost $500,000 US to then conduct impact training for them to, enhance their skills, the skills on nature-based solutions as an approach to restoration. And then we pair them with mentorships and, cross-country site visits that allow them to actually see how different restoration approaches are being conducted across, Kenyan landscapes. And then lastly, through the NUCA program, we also, allowed them micro-granting of up to $10,000. And to me, this is showing how we can trust young people and communities with resources, and especially financing. It's very hard for young people to implement solutions, At times, you cannot implement on an empty stomach. You need to empower these people and give them the money. So NUCA is also giving them micro-grants to be able to actually scale the work they're doing on the ground, but also beyond just restoring, how do you also craft some livelihood options for you to then actually get through that? You're protecting the environment on one side, but also creating some sustainable business ventures that then move you away from perpetual fundraising and donor dependency all through.
Yeah.
So that's one project we've been able to do.
Okay.
And then I'll quickly just mention about another one called the Africa Youth Caravan to COP. So through Kin International, we also host that one. And ideally, it's also knowing that Africans have the solutions, just like Daniel mentioned. So then we actually fundraise to look out for some of these amazing projects that are doing across Africa. And through the year, we always reach out and have open calls where they apply to tell us what they're doing. And then we'll go to them, we invite them, we vet them, and we organize some sub-regional workshops for them. And then lastly, we organize a delegation. We select a delegation that we take to the climate conferences. And the whole point for us is actually allow them to be closer to power, be closer to the head of states, and actually pitch some of these solutions they're doing, because actually these are what the governments used to report as a progress, but these young people are rarely involved in the process or rarely even engaged if their project is being sold out there. So we do that, and right now we are doing our current fundraising towards COP29, and we hope that we can have more partners who actually support us and actualize this African dream that is led by young Africans and African communities who are doing so much on the ground.
Right. From where both of you sit, and we'll start with you, Kaloki, talk to me about